Hey you guys, hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this story actually, I found this story when I was looking for a similar story that my husband had told me about. So my husband had told me about a story about a OnlyFans model who had found out that her biggest supporter, her biggest um, customer was actually her dad. So I was actually looking for that story to share with you guys when I come across this other story, which I thought was really interesting as well. So I wanted to go over this story with you guys. Can everyone see me and hear me okay? Let me know if you guys can hear me and see me. We're going to go over the story and then I'm going to continue to see if I can find what's wrong with this. See if I can find that other story. But right now we're going to go over this one. Lace and Change, I read your message right before I started this live stream, so I haven't gotten to respond to it yet, but I did get to see it. All right, so let's go ahead and go over this story. It's kind of an interesting one, and I do have to say, you guys, that there's a lot of split decisions on how people feel about this case. A lot of people, are not holding her to accountable. A lot of people's like, hey, this woman alleges that she found naked pictures, over 100 naked pictures of her on her stepdad's computer, and then allegedly she killed him, right? So she was found guilty. She did stand trial. She was found guilty. This was just recently. I think it was like in mid-December that her trial wrapped up and she was found guilty. So a lot of people has like taken to social media and they're like, that's not okay. She took care of her stepdad, and to find out that he has been, taking, getting naked photos of her, like I could understand her frustration. But then other people's like, no, like she could call the cops. Also, some people don't believe her story at all. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into it. Trigger warning. Obviously, this story is going to talk about murder, um, nude photos, and things such as that. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. So Jada Jenks is her name. She is a California woman who has recently been found guilty in the death of her stepfather after prosecutors said that she found nude images of herself on his computer. Now, according to her, he had been in the hospital and she took care of him, right? Her mom married him when she was younger. Her mom had a son. So her mom and this man have a biological child together. She has a brother with, you know, this man is the father to her brother. And they got a divorce and she kind of went off on her way, but she got close to him again recently or the past few years. And she actually moved next door to him to kind of, be there and help take care of him and everything. And he had some medical issues, from my understanding. And he also suffered from, according to her, he drank a lot and would mix like sleeping pills and things like that. So she says that he was in the hospital. She went over to his house to clean his house and she was wiping around his computer and bumped the mouse and his computer came on. And the screen save picture was a picture of breast, at which, upon kind of looking at it, she noticed that they were her breasts because she has a beauty mark or a birthmark somewhere in the general area, of her breast. And she noticed that mark was there. At that point, she started looking at his computer, found that he had over 100 images of her. She said some of these images date back to when she was 16 years old. Some of these images taken to send to her boyfriend. She said these images would have been, on her computer, on old memory cards. She claims she doesn't know how he got access to these photos, but she said in his computer he had over 100 photos of her, and he had actually categorized them in his computer according to like boobs, legs, vagina, things like that. So they had all these photos were put in separate categories depending on what they showed. But some of these photos she said she had taken for boyfriends, sent them so she had no idea how he gained access to these photos. But at that point she obviously was disgusted. She said she felt like she couldn't even touch her own skin. She did testify, and her attorney asked her to look at the jury and tell the jury how she felt when she found these photos on his computer. She says she felt disgusted It was like something that you would see out of a movie, and she said, I just felt like I couldn't even touch my own skin because I was so disgusted, and like knowing that he was kind of getting off, by her body or whatever. So Jada Jenks, she is a 39-year-old interior designer from Solana Beach. She was convicted of first-degree murder after the jury deliberated for just over 1 day. So the jury did not even deliberate very long. Prosecutors say that Jenks drugged her stepfather, Tom Merriman, and strangled him on December 31st, 2020. She faces a sentence up to life in prison when she is sentenced next spring. So deputies found Merriman's body under a pile of trash on January 2nd, 2021. They later arrested Jenks and charged her with murder, alleging she gave Merriman a lethal combination of sleeping pills and painkillers. During the trial, prosecutors alleged that Jada planned Merriman's killing after she found those photos on his computer. Some of the images showed Jenks when she was just 16 years old, her attorney alleged. Prosecutors said that they found messages that Jada had actually sent a male friend on the day that Merriman died. So, according to what she said, he was in the hospital. She found these images. And according to the prosecution, at that point, she began plotting a way to kill him. This is the prosecution, what the prosecution has to say. So she picked him up from the hospital. The day that she picked him up from the hospital, he wanted to stop at, or she stopped at a liquor store. Her story is he wanted to stop at a liquor store. The prosecution story is she stopped at the liquor store and she got alcohol. And in the vehicle before they even got back to the house, he drank alcohol and took a lethal dose of pain pills and sleeping pills. She claims that she had seen him take like handfuls of pills at a time and drink, that this was nothing new, that he had a problem with pills and alcohol, so she had seen him do it. Her story is she didn't mean to, she didn't know that he was going to die. She picked him up from the hospital. She said she was going to confront him about the photos, but had no intentions on killing him. She, seen him take a lot of pills in the past and drink. So, but before they could get home, he, clearly something was wrong, and she ended up freaking out once he died, and she just placed him outside by his trash and covered him up with boxes. Now, according to the prosecution and back to their story, she intentionally stopped and got alcohol, fed him a whole bunch of pills, gave him the alcohol, and then when he didn't immediately pass away, she attempted to strangle him. Now, there were text messages found in Jada's phone where she wrote one of her friends on the day that he died saying, I just dosed the hell out of him. Later, she allegedly texted the same friend saying it's pretty much done. She then asked the friend for help moving Merriman out of the back of her SUV. She said, I can't keep a kicking body in my truck. I'm about to club him on the head and he is waking up. This was another message that she sent to another friend. So one message she sent to one friend was, I just dosed the hell out of him. It's pretty much done. And then another friend, I guess in between these two messages, is I can't keep a kicking body in my truck. I'm about to club him on the head. He's waking up. Jada Jenks' defense attorney alleged that the messages were days after she discovered the photos on his computer. And she testified during trial, it's the most violating, awful, gut-wrenching feeling ever to know that your stepdad, a man that you move beside to help take care of, that he is, stealing your photos somehow and using them for his own pleasure. James also testified that she had a strong relationship with him when she was younger, that he was like her dad. She moved in next door with him in 2020 to help take care of him. She said, I've always been the caretaker for Mr. Merryman. Anytime something would go wrong, if he hurt himself, I go get the bandages. If he was sick, I go get the soup. If he needed a ride to the doctor, I took him. Jada's attorney also argued that Merryman was an alcoholic who would often mix liquor with sleeping pills. So the sentencing is scheduled for April 3rd, and she is looking at 25 years to life in prison. So that's kind of the rundown of the information. But, the prosecution is she intended on doing this. She saw the photos and immediately made this plan that she was going to kill him. Her story is no, I was just going to confront him that I saw these photos, but he drank all the time. He took his pills all the time, so I didn't stop him from taking his pills and drinking the alcohol. Now, also, the defense team is he was never strangled. Prosecution is they they brought in like this bag that they alleged that she used to strangle him with, but defense team says she never strangled him. Also, the medical examiner and the autopsy reports show that he died. He died due to an acute intoxication of sleeping pills. So it's kind of wild that the prosecution brought in this other way of dying. Like they could have just said she gave him a lot of sleeping pills and a lot of alcohol. Here's the text messages to prove that where she says, I just like, she's basically saying I overdosed him. Like I just dosed the hell out of him. Here's another message where she says it's almost done. Here's another message where she's asking someone to help her move his body. Here's another message where she says, he's waking up. I'm about to club the hell out of him. They could have just used those things along with the autopsy report that he died of an acute intoxication of sleeping pills, but they brought in this bag situation saying that she strangled him, that because he didn't die, their story was like, well, the pills and the alcohol hadn't done its job, so she strangled him. But autopsy report shows no evidence of strangling him. So that was kind of weird. I did notice that it was like they would have been better to never bring strangulation into the courtroom in front of the jurors, because there's absolutely no evidence to that. And that could instill reasonable doubt into the jurors' minds. Like, well, wait, he died from like a pill overdose, So why are you guys even bringing up strangulation? But anyways, she says she never intended on killing him. He took the medication, and according to her story, she's like, I've seen him take a lot of medication. I never thought that it would kill him. And when I said like I just dosed the crap out of him, I was basically just saying like, I allowed him to take all this medicine, but I didn't think that it would kill him. And she said, and when I was texting about, I can't carry around a kicking body, I'm about to club him, she was like, I really didn't mean that. Like, I was really going to club him. It was just annoying back there. I was mad at him over what he'd done, and I couldn't really have a conversation with him about it because at this point he was drunk. And I was just irritated saying, like, oh, I'm about to club him because he's like back there, but I really didn't mean it like that. Either way, when she was found guilty, when they read the verdict that she was in fact found guilty, she looked completely stunned, like she did not think that that was going to happen. Her attorney even asked, because, usually when you're found guilty, you're like reprimanded to jail. Her attorney asked that she not be reprimanded to jail. So some people believe that she's completely guilty. Also, I do want to say that she destroyed like the photos or whatever. From my understanding, I read in a couple of articles that she destroyed like his hard drive. There was no like solid proof of these hundreds of photos in his computer. Now they did pass around like a little like photos to the jury that she said was the photos that he had on his computer. So they presented like the photos, but there was no evidence from his computer because she destroyed that, from my understanding. So some people are like, yeah, I don't believe her. Like maybe she's got tired of taking care of him. Was she the beneficiary of his life insurance? Was her mother the beneficiary of the life insurance? Like, what is happening here? Yeah, I was just thinking, how do we know he downloaded the photos? So could it be a money thing? But, some people, it's like, I don't blame her. That was her stepdad. That's just sick. I could understand, though, if it would have been like a crime of emotion. They say like a crime of passion, but in this instance, like a crime of emotion, whereas you find something out and you just kind of freak out right there in that moment. But she had time to think about it. So if she did in fact kill him, she literally had time to think about it. She had time where she could have talked herself out of it, to be like, well, I'm just going to talk to him about it. I'm not going to risk my future and end up getting myself put in jail. Now, also, I was watching this attorney speak on this, and not an attorney that works on the case, but another attorney just speaking about the incident. And he said he doesn't believe that it was planned. But some people do believe that it was planned. That when she noticed the nude photos, that she's like, "I'm gonna kill him." But there's this one of the attorneys that I was watching discuss the case says he don't think that it was planned because most people, when they plan to kill someone, they also make a plan on where to hide the body. Like what are they going to do with the body? Okay, we're going to kill this person. We got to do something with the body. But she didn't consider, like, she never had a plan on what to do with the body. She went picked him up from the hospital and then just drove, went to the liquor store and then came right back home and then texted a friend saying, I need your help to move him. She didn't consider any way of how to discard the body until that moment, which makes this one attorney think that it wasn't planned, that it was like an in the moment situation, or maybe that she was innocent. But basically, she got home. He was allegedly dead. She freaked out. She didn't want anybody to think that she did it. So she just dragged him out of the vehicle, left him by his trash cans, and put boxes around him and just left him like that. Um, I don't understand why no photos because nothing is ever deleted. I don't blame her if it happened and she took her abuser's life like he did hers. I don't think she was thinking, period. Yeah, it's really, I think the jury consisted of like 8 women and four men. So I was kind of shocked that, because when I heard that the majority on the jury was women, I was like, oh, they're probably going to find her not guilty, right? Because they're going to put themselves in that situation. How would I feel if I found photos on my, maybe like manslaughter or something, but they did find her guilty and she will be sentenced in April and she's looking at 25 to life. I'm going to try to find the video where they announce her guilty because you could tell she was just stunned. She was absolutely like, she did not think that that was going to happen. Let's see. So, what do you guys think? It is proven women are more likely to be harsher on a jury. That's crazy. You wouldn't think so, but I mean, maybe so. In this case, it definitely seems like it. I'm shocked they went from murder versus manslaughter. Same. All right, let's see.
Superior Court of the State of California for the County of San Diego, the people of the State of California plaintiff versus Jade Sasha Jenks, defendant. Case number SEN 42077, entitled cause, violation of Penal Code Section 187, subsection A, felony.
So that was right after they found her guilty. She was like, "What?" Like I think she really thought she was going to be found innocent.
Penal Code Section 187, subsection A, a felony, as charged in count 1 of the amended information of Penal Code Section 188, find the defendant, Jade Sasha Jenks, guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187, subsection A, a felony, as charged in count 1 of the amended information, and fix the degree thereof as murder in the first degree. Dated today's date, signed the foreperson.
You could see her just like, "Holy crap!" Yeah, definitely should have saved the evidence if that was the case. I mean, if you actually have the hard drive, the computer to say, "Look, it's all here, hundreds of photos. I was 16 in some of these photos." You might could have got off with a lesser sentence or something, but did not have the evidence of the photos. It leaves a lot of doubt in the juror's mind that they were even there, because who destroys the evidence?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, was this and is this your verdict is read?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, does either side wish to have the jury poll?
No, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
All right, Madam Clerk.
So she was completely shocked that the jury found her guilty. To me, it seemed very obvious that she thought that they wouldn't by the way that she looked. I can't believe they couldn't access the photos. She must have completely like got rid of the computer. That's what I'm understanding. From what I read that it said she destroyed the hard drive. So I don't know if she like threw it in a pond, threw it in a river. Like I don't know how. Like, but obviously to the point to where they could not access these photos. Now, like I said, her team showed photos but I think it was photos that she went back and got and was like, okay, this one was it. Was one. Was one. And as they passed the photos around the jury, everyone was looking at them. They said a couple of the women would look and just kind of shake their heads, like, "Oh, that's terrible," if it was true. But obviously, they found reason not to believe her. So um, she was definitely shocked. It does show her. They asked for her, like I said, um, to be able to stay out of prison until her sentence, but the judge said no for that. So, right, it makes it really hard. She went off emotions where the jury goes off evidence, and that's where she's lost. Yeah. So, yeah, this was a pretty wild one. Um, it makes me wonder, who was the beneficiary of his insurance policy, his life insurance policy. Was it her mom by chance? I don't know. I feel like there's something here that we're missing. Like, why would you destroy that evidence? Why would you destroy the pictures, the very pictures that led you to commit this crime? That way, if you were caught, you could at least come back and say, but this is what drove me. This was my motive. I can understand being disgusted and really mad, maybe even smacking the guy or whatever, but M is overboard. Well, I'm just thinking about my stepdad. So my mom was married a few times, but I have the stepdad that I have now, who I absolutely love, and I call him my mailman because my mail goes to their P.O Box, and he always brings it to me. Like the second they get something for me, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, I'm on my way. You got mail." The sweetest guy. And then my stepdad that raised me from the time that I was like 8 to 17, who I absolutely love and adore as well. He is my daughter's godfather. If I found out that either one of them had photos of me naked, I would be just disgusted and just so heartbroken, like devastated, heartbroken that this man that I mean, she cared enough about her stepdad to buy the house next to him so she could be close enough to take care of him. And then something like this drives her to kill him. I don't know. I just feel like even if will it drive you to the point to hate this man that you supposedly cared so much about that you were his caretaker? To me, it would just have me. I would just be devastated. I would not hate my stepdad, someone that I adore, to the point to where I wanted to take their life. I would probably call the police and be like, "There's photos of me as a child. That's illegal." So maybe he could, pay some sort of pay for the crime or whatever. But I could not murder my stepdad. Totally heartbroken. Absolutely. No reason to murder anyone. She should have reported it. Yeah. But a lot of people, let's look over at Twitter because a lot of people's like, what? A lot of people, do the pictures ever exist? Do we have evidence of her destroying this? No, there's no evidence. There's not that I'm aware of. Let's see. Let's Where is it? Let's see. There was a lot of comments last night that I found where people were like defending her. And I don't know if they just haven't really kept up with the case. I don't know because for me at first, when I first heard about it, when I first heard that this stepdaughter that's tended to her dad and helped take care of him, that she found these photos, I was like, oh man, yeah, okay. But then after kind of getting familiar with the case, then I'm like, I don't even know if I believe it. Dude, where is all the comments that I found last night? I can't even find them. Let's see. Is anyone else familiar with this story? Have you guys heard about this story before now? Yeah, I definitely couldn't murder my either one of my stepdad. I love them way too much and just couldn't. Even if their actions hurt me. But yeah, last night I did see a lot of comments saying like, she didn't deserve to be found guilty. That if, people's like, if it was me, I would have did the same thing. Never heard of this story. My mind is blown. I know it's pretty wild. But I've been interested in kind of finding stories that, are not um, being put out there, maybe kind of like they should, or just stories that kind of interest me. And like I said, I was talking to my husband about how, like, there's just not a lot of content right now for me to cover. And he told me, he was like, did you hear about the story about the girl, the OnlyFans model, that her biggest customer was her dad? And I was like, what? So I was actually looking for that. And I'm going to continue to look for that and, see if I can cover that. From my understanding, that girl, she lived with her dad, and her dad was using a voice changer. And they would actually, like, DM each other. She would send him pictures, and he would pay her for the pictures. And he was literally her biggest customer, like, financially paid her more than anyone. And she was actually, like, walking by his room one day and heard him, like, talking through the voice changer, and then, like, went back to her phone and listened to the audio clip, and realized that it was her dad. So now I was looking up for that one when I found this one. So I wanted to do this one, and then I'm gonna continue to look up for that one. But yeah, at first, like I said, I kind of was like, "Oh my god, that is crazy." I kind of get it. Wow, like, but then after actually watching, and watching some of the trial, and then reading more into it, I'm like, I just don't know if I even believe it. Yeah, I heard about the dad being the biggest fan of OnlyFans. That grossed me out. So disgusting and traumatic. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to continue to cover cases like this, kind of bring cases like this, out on my channel, things that probably other people are not covering. Maybe some stuff that some people are covering just because it's wild and crazy cases. But I wanted to make sure that we talked about this one. In the meantime, I am going to look for the other one. But you guys leave me your thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you guys believe that she actually found nude photos on her stepdad's computer, and she did in fact plan to kill her stepdad? Or do you guys believe that she didn't find nude photos but still killed her stepdad? Or do you guys believe that she found the nude photos, was going to confront him, but didn't get the opportunity to because he OD'd? Now, like I said, the autopsy report did come back that he died of acute intoxication of sleeping pills. If there were pictures, Ellie has ways to find them. I don't believe her story. Yeah. Thank you, Morticia Adams. Thank you so much. But I do see we have a few new people in the chat. So if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, I would love to have you here as we go through these different stories. I cover true crime as well as, like, trending topics, entertainment news, a little bit of reality television. But I am a little bit more focused here lately, especially on the true crime. So I would love to have you, the new people in the chat. So if you would like, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, give this video a thumbs up. We have another live stream scheduled. I think it's scheduled for 2 o'clock today, Central Time. And we're going to do a recap of the Teen Mom reunion part 1. So we're going to go over that. Also, Diana Kojikari, the mother of Madalena Kojikari, actually has a hearing today. The mother and the stepdad have a hearing today. Madalena Kojikari is an 11-year-old that has been missing for weeks. At this point, she's been missing for months. She was missing for weeks when the school showed up at her house and was like, why isn't Madalena coming to school? Nobody answered the door. They left a truancy packet and a letter saying, we need to meet with, mom and student as soon as possible to discuss, why a child is not coming to school. The mom called the school and said, yeah, we'll be there tomorrow. Show up at the meeting without the 11-year-old girl. And at that point, she tells the school resource officer that her daughter has been missing for, I think at this point, her daughter had been missing for 2 weeks, I think it was. I'll have to go back and double check. But her daughter had been missing. So she says she did not want to report her daughter missing because she did not want to cause problems with her husband. So they have a bond hearing today. I'm going to give you guys updates on that. So we'll do an update on Madalena Kojikari as far as her mom and stepdad and their bond hearing. We're going to do the Teen Mom reunion recap. You can watch the Teen Mom reunion recap on YouTube. Grace Green says, I've been subscribed. I don't always chat. Absolutely love your personality. Oh, thank you, Grace. Thank you. That means so much to me. So I'm going to show you guys. You can find almost anything on YouTube. So let me show you. If there's a show that you watch, but you can't afford to continue paying cable, usually on YouTube. Like right here, this is December 27th episode of Teen Mom: The Next Chapter. So it's part 2. This is the whole episode right there. Now the only difference is sometimes the audio is a little like off with their mouth, and they'll zoom in and out a lot versus it being like a regular picture. And the reason why is they're trying to avoid copyright. So it doesn't bother me. Sometimes I'll watch it on here versus like on my apps because I can watch it in fast speed. Like sometimes if I don't have enough time to watch it and I need to watch it with a quickness, I'll watch it on here versus on like any of my apps. Right, yeah. Mom and dad are definitely suspect as I don't even know what. And the fact that they were burning couch cushions and stuff like that on the night that she reportedly went missing makes me think that they burned their evidence. Any evidence, maybe her clothes or something like that, that they burn it. Or maybe if whatever took place started on the couch, that's why they burnt the couch cushions. I don't know. But anyways, you guys, we're going to do update on Madalena Kojikari. We're going to do the Teen Mom reunion recap. Also, I do have to say, Dr. Drew really was on Leah about questions concerning Jalen. Leah signed an NDA, so she cannot tell anyone why they broke up. But it did not stop Dr. Drew from really like pushing and pushing and pushing. And honestly, based off what Leah said and the way that she answered his questions, it really led me to believe that she caught Jalen cheating, but with a man. And that's everybody on the internet. Everybody's like, okay, Leah, so you caught him cheating with a man. Because, he was like, did somebody cheat? She's like, I can't say. And Nessa was like, did you cheat? She was like, I did not cheat. So if Jalen didn't cheat, she would have said no. It wouldn't have been, I cannot say. She was quick to say no when they asked about her. And then it was like, Dr. Drew said, you caught him, doing something? And she's like, yeah. And he said, is it something that we should like feel bad for him? And she was like, yeah. And he says, is it like a part of him that like you didn't know about or something? And she's like, yeah. She basically said, it's something that society doesn't all the way accept. And when she found out, she had questions, but it made her realize that it didn't make sense for her and him to be in a relationship if this was who he was. So definitely gave off like huge vibes that, he was cheating with a man, which kind of sucks that he feels like he has to have that. But either way, we're going to go over all of that when we do the recap for the reunion. So make sure you guys join me for that so we can have that discussion. And we're going to do more content today, but those are the two that I know for sure. So you guys make sure you join me right back here. I would love to have every one of you guys. It's going to be interesting. Leave me your thoughts on this case in the comment section below. Do you guys believe that Jada Jenks was innocent, that she did not kill him, that he overdosed himself? Do you guys believe that she did do it? And if she did do it, why? Do you guys feel like she really found the photos or what? Leave me your thoughts. Give this video a thumbs up. It really helps push my videos into the algorithm. And like I said in previous videos, YouTube's not doing me any favors with really promoting me. So if you guys could do your part, it doesn't cost anything. Just hit the subscribe button, leave a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Even if it's a heart, even if it's a thumbs down, just a comment really helps boost me in the algorithm. I would appreciate it. I'll see you guys back here in just a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.